Good evening, dear students. I hope you have gone through the interview with Mr. K. Karthik, the 428th ranker in UPSC. It was a very good inspiration to watch him watch the interview. Now today, we again have Mr. Karthik has done his engineering from IIT Bombay, and today our speaker who also has done his PhD from IIT Bombay. So I'm glad to introduce Dr. Uday Bhaskar to all of you. He has done his PhD from IIT Bombay. He worked with the Reliance organization, and right now he is in Delhi. We would like you to interact with our students, sir.
Renewable energy.
The topic is renewable energy.
Yeah.
Dr. Uday Bhaskar.
Thank you. So yeah, I'll try to share my screen if it can be enabled.
Yes, it's enabled.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, are you able to see the full screen? I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So thank you very much. It's really very nice opportunity to interact with all of you. So yeah, as you have told, I have done my PhD in IIT Bombay, then worked in Reliance in defining R&D as a scientist, and then now presently working in Faridabad in a Haldo Topsoe company. So here also I'm working in refining area, but particularly here I'm working in a technology-based company for giving license for the renewable technology. So we Haldo Topsoe have few renewable technologies which we are trying to give license for the companies which they want to put out. Into particularly to say, we have a renewable technologies for the producing renewable diesel and renewable jet. So I'll try to explain about the renewable energy. So the agenda of today's presentation is like I'll try to introduce and discuss about few renewable technologies and limitations of them. And the most important thing is I'll try to talk about Paris Climate Agreement, and then what is the present Indian renewable energy status and the issues and challenges of it. So this is the screen which we normally feel like the most important thing to know why do we need renewable energy. So this we are listening from a long time. So the major important point is like the coal reserves, coal, gas and oil reserves, which are fossil fuels, which are trying to give most of our energy needs are going to get completed soon. And these reserves are when while burning these oils or fuels, we are generating huge amount of carbon dioxide, and these global warming potential gases are creating abrupt changes in the environments and weathers. So it is trying to melt the icebergs at the Arctic and Antarctic end, and it is creating droughts and floods in different ratios. So it is very important for us to use renewable energies so that we can live longer. So to talk about the renewable, so what is renewable energy? The renewable energy is a energy source which is freely available from nature. It is not exhausting and it can be continuously renewed. So I want to say one point here is like, so there is a one concept which is going in people that renewable energy is not an energy which does not produce any global warming gases like carbon dioxide or anything. Renewable energy is an energy which can be never lasting, and we can have a carbon balance. So here carbon balance, what I mean to say is like if you take biomass, if you burn a biomass, carbon dioxide is produced, but after we burn the carbon dioxide, these carbon dioxide can be taken by the plants and then produce a biomass. So there should be a circular economy which can take carbon dioxide and generate carbon dioxide. So in other words, there should be a way where we have a zero net release of carbon dioxide. So those are renewable energy in other words. So there are other energy forms which does not even produce carbon dioxide, like solar, hydro and wind power. Along with that, we have biofuels and geo and ocean thermal energies. So solar energy is one of the very popular energy source of renewable. So here, when a sunlight tries to incident on the solar panel, so we will have two types of diodes here. One is N-type silicon diode and P-type silicon diode. So N-type silicon diode is a silicon bonded with phosphorus, which will have a negative charge in it. P-type silicon diode will have boron bonded with silicon, which will have positive charge. So when a sunlight try to incident on the plate, these N-type silicon diodes get excited and try to generate the flow of electrons, which is called electricity. So this is one of the very popular and completely very nice way of producing energy. The problem with these solar energy is these solar energies efficiency is really very less. So the present solar panels can take up to 20% of the energy which is instant on it. So really the technology is still in the development stage, that like we have to increase the efficiency as much as possible. Other than that, this energy is really very quiet. It doesn't make any noise while producing energy, and you hardly do any maintenance. If it has any dust on the panel, you just have to clean it, but hardly it gets any problem in maintenance. It is very cheap, and if we have any remote places where there is a problem with connecting the electricity, it is very easy to use it, and it doesn't produce any emissions at all. So the major advantages is initially we have to put huge amount of cost to install this one, and it requires a lot of space in it. And this output from the solar energy is not a constant. It depends on the season and it depends on the time. Like in the morning we can get a solar energy, but in the night we cannot get. So we need to develop a systematic approach where we can use the energy by uh, storing so that you can get a quantified energy which is required regularly. So the other source of energy which is very popular is hydro and wind energy. So both these energies are common in terms like the fluid kinetic energy is converted into electrical energy. So in hydropower, like where water kinetic energy will be converted to mechanical energy to turn the turbine that in turn produce electricity. In wind power, the wind will try to rotate the turbines. The kinetic energy of the wind will be converted into mechanical energy that in turn produce the electrical energy. So both these technologies are very well matured. When compared with solar energy, these have very high efficiency of around more than 80%. But again, this problem with this hydro and wind power is they are location based. So hydro energy is produced only where there is a source of water and source of way to construct the dams. Wind power again has a problem with it requires a wind, and the wind direction and other things will change based on the time of a year. So the other major source of energy is biofuels. So these biofuels energy is in way developing when compared with the solar and the hydro and other energy sources. So the biofuels can be divided into majorly 4 different sources depending on the feeds they are used. So first one is the first generation. So in this first generation, we try to take cereals, starch, and sugars or oil crops to produce the feed. So as you can see, these are the very simple and easy sources, but the problem with them is they are mostly used in having food. Like we can use the cereals in having food or other food grain sources. Like if using these in a higher quantities can create a food crisis. The second generation is little complicated than the first generation, like municipal waste, industrial waste, starch, nuts, manures, and other things. So third generation is algal biomass, and fourth generation is still most complicated, but this is not presenting much. This is just in the lab scale, and it's not really in the development stage. So, so depending on the once we get the feed, there are different ways of using it to generate energy. So, for example, if you can try to take the seeds, you can press them, extract the oils, and convert into biodiesel, or you can use these oils and decarboxylate and get the renewable diesel and biodiesel, renewable diesel or jet, or you can directly convert into biochemical conversion through anaerobic digestion to get bioethanol or biogas, or you can thermally convert them by combustion, gasification, or pyrolysis. By gasification, we can get syngas, which we can use to generate the methanol, other fuel, or directly directly burn it them to generate the electricity. We can pyrolysis the biomass or the feed to get a liquid fuel, which we can in turn do some treatment procedure and get the fuel in turn. So, or we can do some liquefaction techniques for a particular feed by which we can directly get a diesel or jet. So there are different techniques by which we can produce the biofuel, and these biofuels in terms can be used to generate the energy or electricity. So other important thing is like geo and ocean thermal energy. So geo and ocean thermal energy is very specific location based, and in India we don't see them to be a suitable place. In geothermal energy, there are places where we have very hot spring water in the earth crust. These are due to their this comes due to their geographical location, and by using this hot water we can try to use it and expand it in the expander, and that can be used to run the turbine to generate the electricity, and the cold water will be sent back. So similarly in the ocean thermal energy, we can take the hot water from the sea top that can be used in the expander, which can run the turbine to generate the electricity, and the cold water will be sent back. So in both these geo and ocean thermal energy, there are like there is a hot source available for it. These hot source can be used to generate the electricity, but this availability of this hot source is a completely a location based thing, and these energies are not completely efficient. We require it less than 10 to 15%. You can extract the energy from the hot water. So still it requires huge amount of development, but its development is completely very restricted because these are not very abundantly used or located in different places. So the major thing which we can discuss is about the Paris Climate Agreement. So this is one of the major change that has happened. So this is an agreement which has made in United Nations Framework Convention in 2016, 2015. So almost 197 countries have signed it. And so as per this agreement, they want to have a long-term goal to reduce 2 degrees centigrade of our temperature of our world by 2 degrees centigrade below the pre-industrial level. That is, whatever the temperature in the country in 1850 to 1990, so we have to reduce it by 2 degrees centigrade by 2050. So it is the target, and this agreement is completely a voluntary agreement. So a country which is agreed to participate in the Paris Agreement will try to have national contribution data developed with which they will try to put whatever is the target they are going to put for the next 5 years, and whatever they have achieved, so that they have to share it with it, and no one is going to check your data calculations are correct or your emission calculations are correct. It is completely voluntary, and this agreement also allows or asks the parties in the agreement try to conserve and enhance the greenhouse gases sink. That is like they ask you to enhance the forest development and enhance the putting more and more different types of sinks that can capture the greenhouse gases. So there is a green climate fund which is also developed along with the Paris Climate Agreement, where the developed countries will give some fund, and this fund will be mobilized to the developing countries to try to incorporate these changes which are required to uh, achieve this long-term goal of reducing 2 degrees centigrade. So when we come to see the Indian renewable energy status, so India is really very good in this renewable status. Present our status is really consistent with Paris Agreement. So the way or the direction in which we go, we can easily reduce 2 degrees centigrade by easily. And Indian renewable energy status is very important because we have 1.4 billion population, and we have huge amount of, we are a very developing country with huge requirement of the electricity. So present, we see the energy availability of India. Like we are trying to take 35.9% of the energy from renewable energy. In that, we have major contributions coming from hydro, wind, and solar power. So not only that, like we want to achieve, as per the Indian agreement, we have to achieve 40% of the electricity for renewable sources by 2030. But already we have achieved almost 35.9%, and we have made a very stringent target of 57% by 2027. But recently, our Narendra Modi, 57% means like 275 gigawatts of electricity, which can be produced from renewable sources. But recently, Narendra Modi have went to a US climate conference, and he has announced more than 400 gigawatts of electricity which can be produced, which they will try to produce by the renewable power. But he did not tell what is the target which they have to produce. So yeah, so hydropower state, like in terms of hydropower, India is really very good. We are the fifth largest hydropower making country in the world, and but still we have a very huge potential. We can even increase it by 3 times from now. So we presently have some 46,000 megawatts of power being produced by different hydropower projects which are there in India. So we have huge potential, but the problem is, there are many river basins where we can construct the dams, but the local tribals available there are not accepting to have a dam there. So that is one of the problem which we have to handle. So we have there is Narmada basins and other few river basins which are really needed to be captured and explored for it. So wind power, yeah, in wind power we are like fourth largest wind power capacity in the world. So the best thing about the wind power is whatever the equipment required for the wind power is being manufactured in India locally. So this is one of the biggest thing, and this wind power technology is completely mature with the blade sizes and blade shapes and everything. So it is highly efficient thing, and we are trying to expand it in this area very nicely. And these are like mostly present in the southern regions and western regions of the country. So in terms of solar power, like yeah, so we are really this India has a very good ability to expand in terms of solar power. Yet, and even with the present government's policy, this expansion is going rapidly. The major point, which major advantage which India had is, so most of as you can see in the irradiation graph, most of the places in the India had more than 5 kilowatts per meter square per day of irradiation. This is really very high. So these will help us to have a compatible or advantageous or attractive solar power generating capacities all over the country. So we are trying strongly driving this by using the policies. We are giving many capex intensives for the solar power, and we have many policies where this solar power generated will be taken by the discoms and try to buy them and try to use them. And we are also trying to encourage a rooftop policy. Like that means we are encouraging every new building which is constructed will have a solar panels installed on the building, and this power will be taken by the discoms and will be distributed. Even newly now, the floating type solar panels are also came, which can be located in the seas. The problem with the solar power is the most of the solar panels which we are using are being imported from China. So the India and China problems which we are really facing may create a problem in solar power industry. But we have an in-house manufacturing facilities, but it's 30 times costlier than the exports from other countries. So in terms of biopower, we have a huge scope to increase the use of biomass. So because like we have a huge agricultural land, agriculture being produced, and we have huge amount of biomass being available. So we had presently we have around 3 gigawatts of power being produced by using biomass. It is majorly by burning the biomass along with the coal. So we had a target to reach 10 gigawatts of power by 2022, and we are trying to promote co-firing of the biomass along with coal so that we can reduce the use of coal here. So along with the biomass, we are trying to promote the use of biodiesel and bioethanol. So this biodiesel can be blended along with the diesel. Bioethanol can be blended along with the petrol or gasoline. So, but the problem with the blending of biodiesel can be blended only till some 6 to 7% in a 6 to 7% of the diesel, and bioethanol can be blended only till 7 to 8%. So the major constraint here goes is biodiesel and bioethanol. Both of them have oxygen in it. So having high oxygen content in a fuel will try to corrode the machine or the engine. So they are limited in use. There are other biodiesel explode in India. For example, we can produce a renewable biodiesel, which our company is working. So in these renewable diesel can directly replace the diesel by 100%. But this technology is really costly. If you compare with the normal diesel cost, the renewable diesel cost will be more than 3 to 4 times. So we need to India need to give some incentives so that this technology can be placed in India. But presently we had a good amount of biodiesel, around 3% of the biodiesel, 0.02% of the biodiesel is being used for blending, and 2% of the bioethanol is being used for the blending in country. So the major issues and challenges in this technology is regarding like the major challenge is unpredicted policies. So the major challenge goes is regarding the solar panels I have discussed. The solar panels, the most of the solar panels are being manufactured in the China, and we have to get them from them so that it is cheaper. So if you get the panels from the China, import from the China and use here, then you can have a cheaper electricity for it and cheaper electricity cost for it. But as other the countries, government wants to promote the Make in India. So further, like in between, they try to increase the charges of the charges for importing the solar panel. Then after some time, again after discussion, they try to reduce the importing cost. So the thing is like they're not keeping the policies constant. Sometimes they try to reduce the import for the import cost of the solar panels. And again, once the local manufacturers try to discuss and they want to promote Make in India, they try to have the import charges. So these unpredictability in the policies is really affecting this solar energy things. So a technology which is really in growing stage requires to have a standard and very uh, futuristic policy. So another thing is there are so many policy problems regarding the collection of the electricity. So electricity is normally collected into the grids by the discom. So these policies are really changing. Like these discoms are asked to take the electricity from thermal power plant, and along with that they are trying to take the power from the solar power plant. So sometimes like these thermal power plant ministry is trying to promote them to take more and more power from the thermal power plant. Again, when it comes to the other ministry, it tries to promote more and more solar power plant. So these indiscrepancies creating a problem for them. Sometimes like what they try to do is like there is an auction facility which they normally use. So for example, if I am going to put a company of solar panel, I'll try to put 10 megawatts of solar panel. After that, there will be an auction facilities where different discounts of the countries will try to come and will try to auction the power price. So once the auction is done, then an agreement will be made by the discom and the partner, so that all the power whichever the solar company is going to produce will be purchased by them and will be supplied by them. But due to some other reason, they are trying to not, even though the agreement is being done, they're trying to come not purchase electricity, and this thing has happened recently in Karnataka. Similarly, there is a problem with the decentralized distribution. Uh, so, uh, so these decentralized distribution is really creating a problem for the discoms, and there is a very unclear plan for the decarbonization plan. For example, India wants to grow in the sustainable region or renewable energy, but we have to keep in mind that like this is not completely reliable. Like as we can see, the solar is we cannot get 100% solar energy every time, or hydro or wind power. So there should be a renewable fossil power plant which is available, which can cater to some parts of the needs of our country. We are just trying to support more and more the renewable energy without keeping interest about the thermal power plant. So we should be encouraging both the thermal power plants a little equally with renewable power plants. We require renewable energy more and more, but we cannot completely neglect the thermal power plant because we need some standby option which is more reliable. So these policy plans which they are trying to produce are made very unclear, and they are trying to change very rapidly, and we don't have a strong storage ecosystem. As we can see, most of the power has to be stored in batteries or other grid systems, but these grid systems are not properly arranged. And at one place, for example, if you see that in summer the solar power we have got huge amount of solar power there that has to be stored with certain capacity, and in the winter we'll get a very less capacity for it. So they are trying to produce a capacity. We have to have a capacity which can cater the storage capacity for all the seasons at all the places. But there is very lacking of these things in it, and we need more futuristic policies. As I have told, so using biodiesel or bioethanol cannot cannot help us to completely eliminate the fossil fuel or cannot reach our targets, because as I have told that biodiesel can be mixed only by 8% and bioethanol by 6%. So these less than 10% mixtures cannot replace the complete fuel. So we need to try to develop the other technologies equally. Similarly, we need to try to promote the R&D in our country more and more, so that this futuristic support to the R&D will try to enhance our goals towards the renewable energy. So to finally say, what I want to say is we have a problems in technology. The technology is not completely mature, and we have a problems in policies. Policies are really clearly not uh, reliable, and they're completely dynamic. So we need a very strong portfolio in technology and policies, and these policies should strongly support the technology, and this technology has strongly support the policies. Both these technologies and policies has to go hand by hand. So most of my information which I have shared are being taken from Indian's 2020 energy policy and state renewable energy in India 2010. So I strongly suggest to read these both to have more and more understanding about it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, can you please explain about the global horizontal irradiation? A bit more on that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So yeah, global horizontal irradiation means like in a particular, in an average in a day, what is the amount of sunlight which falls in that place?
Okay, okay. So what are the
it is indirectly to tell how much potential we have at that position, at that place to collect the solar power.
Okay.
So more and more irradiation, then more and more power can be produced if you plate the solar panel there.
Okay, okay. Yashwini has a question, sir. What are the different biofuels that we have?
Yeah. So the biogas is one of the fuel which we try to get it. So we can get that are try to get that is equivalent to CNG. Another thing is bioethanol, biomethanol, and biodiesel, uh, and similarly renewable diesel or renewable jet.
What are the benefits government of India is providing for renewable energy factories?
So different factories will be getting different credits. The solar panel will directly get the capex benefit. So more than 30 to 35% of the money will be given to the solar industry if you are going to put. So in the capex, like in initial amount, whatever you are going to put, in that they are going to give 30 to 35% of the capex benefit to you. And second thing they are going to give is they give guaranteed power purchase agreement. So whatever the power you try to generate from the solar panel, they'll try to buy you. And third thing is they will try to, if you are going to import the solar panels from other countries, they are giving the credits for less import charges for you for this solar panel.
Why we are not trying for this wind energy?
So wind energy is really going up, but yeah, so policy wise, so amount wise, the solar power amount, yeah. So both the wind energy and solar energy going up, but the solar energy is going more and more rapidly because wind energy, as you can see, the places where you can put the wind power panels or wind power turbines are really very restricted. So only in these red areas, like where it is placed, there only you can have a wind turbine there. But when if you come to solar power, there is a huge area where in the country where you can put the solar panel here. But the advantage is the wind energy is already there because it's completely in-house technology and it's completely mature technology. So having a wind power will really have will be like completely indigenous technology for us.
Particularly, we have a lot of wind energy, and why don't we have so many of wind energy projects? Whether the government is encouraging?
Yeah, government is increasing. They have the targets also. I don't remember the values not today, but for every energy they had a target which they have claimed and which they are trying to encourage by using everything is like by both the incentives. Like they are going to give the capex intensive tax incentives, and they are going to give also the carbon credits in terms. I didn't discuss about carbon credits and carbon tax in this one. So carbon credits means like by generating some power from the wind energy, the equivalent amount of carbon dioxide reduction you are reducing. So these you will get as a carbon credit. In case if you are going to put any industry for it, so then you can emit the equal amount of carbon dioxide from without having tax on you.
Yeah.
Manisha has a question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Director, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Manisha has a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What will be the financial funding for the establishment of renewable energy in our country? Whether the central government will give it or the state government? Who will be giving the financial funding?
No, yeah, funding in terms like central government is going to give the credit for it. It's like it's going to give the pot of money, like 30 to 35% of the money will be given by the central government. Remaining money you have to keep. But what they give is they'll give the guaranteed returns for you. So whatever the power you are going to produce, whatever the product, like it is like guaranteed power product purchase. So whatever the energy you are going to generate, the government is giving guarantee that we are going to purchase this energy from you, and they'll try to auction it, and they had a minimum baseline. Like for example, if you are trying to purchase solar power from us, we are not going to sell it less than 3 rupees per unit. It will be more than that. Like they'll have an open auction for it, and they'll have a base per price, and one of the discom has to purchase. For example, if there is an auction, it is not that like in the auction none of them will going to have agreement with it. One of the discom will have an agreement with it, and whatever the plant you are going to put, it is really guaranteed that whatever the product you produce, it will be sold. But initial investment, it should be from your side.
Government of India has a separate ministry for renewable energy.
Yes, yes.
What
Yes,
are their activities? What are their activities?
so yeah, so it is like yeah, I had read that like government of India, India is one of the first countries which has really formed this ministry for renewable energy. I heard if I'm not wrong, it's something 1980 or 1990 they have kept it, and those are the people who are going to frame these policies. Whatever we are talking, these policies are being framed by them. And one of the thing which about the Paris Agreement have talked is like they try to calculate this national contribution device, like whatever the data which we are trying to produce, what is the power we are producing from renewable sources, what is the power we are going to produce from the fossil sources. Those they are trying to collect the data and try to present it.
Can you differentiate, sir, between biofuels and fossil fuels?
Yeah.
Biofuels.
So, yeah, true. So for in terms of composition or chemistry, most of them can be similar. So for example, it's not exactly similar, I mean to say. For example, if you say biodiesel is also fuel. When you try to burn, it tries to generate energy and carbon dioxide. Even the fossil fuels like diesel or gasoline will also try to burn and try to produce carbon dioxide energy. It may be little different in chemical formulation, but it are exactly similar. The advantage with bio is we are trying to generate this fuel from the bio source, and once you burn this carbon dioxide, we know that like we need to produce this bioenergy, so we will try to grow more and more crops. So these crops are going to take the carbon dioxide. So these biofuels will have a zero net carbon dioxide production. So whatever the carbon dioxide you generate by burning these biofuels will be taken by the crops. But whatever the carbon dioxide which is generated by the fossil fuels are going to take from the other sources. Like if you try to burn the natural diesel, this carbon dioxide has to be taken by the plants or forests which are there. But if you try to burn the fuel from the biosource, so we know that like these are produced from the biosource, so it will be burned in the trees or forests, which again will be used to produce the biodiesel.
Whether renewable energy is cheaper compared to hydropower?
No, hydropower is the cheapest one. Second is the wind. Third is the solar power. The costliest is the biofuel.
Achha.
Yeah, you have done your PhD from the topmost institution, IIT Bombay.
Yeah.
Can you share a few experiences
So,
for students?
What was the subject and what was the result?
yeah. So I did my PhD in IIT Bombay in chemical engineering department. So the topic was about modeling on cell movement. So it's a bacterium cell called E. coli, Escherichia coli. So I tried to study its movements based on the chemicals present. I think what it is means, like for example, if you have a cell and if there is any food nearby to it, it tries to go toward. It will try that there is some food nearby and will try to sense it and tries to go near to the food. If there is any poison or if there is any danger going to come to the cell, then it will try to move away from it. So I had tried to mathematically model these changes. Like for example, if there is a cell will have some sensors which will try to sense the signals from the outside environment. And like for example, if you take about human beings, if you like any food, the food will be tried to find out from the nose. So we have sensors in nose. Nose will try to sense the smell, and it will send the signal to the body, and we'll go near to the food. Similarly, if you find someone is smoking, and if you see the smell of the smoke, the nose will try to sense the smoke of it and will try to go away from it. Similarly, there are some sensors on the very small microorganism, which will try to sense it and will try to move away from it. So I try to study its mechanism. How does this sensing mechanism works in the cell? This really helps in trying to understand very important things, like we want to explore it to the cancer cells. The cancer cells also acts very similar to it. So we try to explore these cancer cell sensors, and these sensors of the cancer cells and the normal cells are really different. So if we can understand this complete sensor procedure, then we can use it for the uh, trying to design the or bio-design a medicine for it. So that is what the aim is. I try to do some mathematical calculations and models for it and try to understand and try to generate some understanding about the sensing mechanism of the cell.
Have you applied for any patent?
No, no, no. This is completely academic study, so we do not. There is no scope of applying a patent in this one.
Acha, acha, acha.
Sir, you had also worked with the best institution, the best company in India right now, Reliance. Can you give few inputs about that?
So Reliance is like one of the very big company in the India now, and the main basis itself is the Jamnagar Petroleum Company, which we have worked in. So they had a world's largest petroleum complex in Jamnagar, and it is one of the most integrated refinery. And you can see it is too much complicated than most of the refineries in India. So it is really privileged to work in it, and they are really the major thing what Reliance has is they have very good uh, top people who can give very good advice. Like they have very diverse board of directors, if you can say. If you see the people who are in the board of directors of Reliance are really huge. They had some very renowned scientists, very renowned teachers, and there are very renowned economics and different peoples in their board of director meeting. And even the MD will listen to the decisions of the board of directors. And whatever the topics they discuss, like one thing what I observed in Reliance is they try to listen so much, and they try to disagree so much in a meeting. Like we many times even in the R&D meeting, we used to have so much time of discussing a single small topic. Initially when I joined, I used to feel that like this is a very simple topic and why they are discussing so much. And there'll be one person who will be always saying that that is wrong. So they'll be trying to discuss, argue, and try to finally come up with something. So and once they come up with some decision, they'll try. Every one of them will try to agree with it. And their approaches are really very futuristic to say. So presently they're trying to reduce their fuel production and trying to have more and more petrochemicals. And one inspiring thing to say about the Reliance Petroleum Complex is it is founded by Dhirubhai Ambani, and his investment in that petroleum complex is completely zero. So he did not invest a single pice in it. If you see, like it's a huge amount of money they have brought it, and everything he bought it from the foreign banking companies. And he himself went to the foreign countries and tried to give the presentation, so that why is that refinery is important and how much money they can get and how they can get a very good returns from the investment. And one thing we have to remember is that Dhirubhai Ambani is just a 10th class graduate. 10th class, he's not even a graduate. Right? He just did a graduation later, but he's just a 10th class person when he has went for the presentation. It is his very strong zeal to put a chemical refinery, very big world class refinery. And when he got a money, he did not put a company refinery. If you compare with many public sector refineries, which I do not say, is very less heat integrated. So if you see in Reliance, completely heat integrated and zero waste. Like they don't produce anything outside. They even generate money from the waste. So many times, if you see, many of the chemical industries will try to generate some effluent and will to throw it into the sea. So these companies, these Reliance is so clever that they'll try to separate the elements from the effluent also, and even they'll sell the chemicals from effluent also. They are going to generate a price every single NP from everything, and they're completely zero waste. They don't generate any waste from it. And another thing which I try to share is like they had huge amount of plants which they had grown, and they are very clever in other mango trees there. The amount of money they get from just selling these mangoes itself is around 4 to 5 crores in a year. So these mango trees are just a compulsory. For example, if you want to put any chemical industries, whatever the carbon dioxide you have to produce, the equivalent amount of trees you have to grow. So they are so cleverly trying to put the plants which they can generate money from it.
They have cultivated the mango trees so that they can sell again the mango.
And they did not put in single type of mango trees. They had kept almost like more than 140 different types of mango. So majorly it's Kesar mango, but different types of mangoes are there, and all the mangoes are grown organically. So the organic mangoes really have a high market in the high rate for the market.
Thank you very much, sir. for sharing all your experiences at IIT Bombay and also at Reliance Industries. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you very much.
You announce tomorrow's essay, madam.
Already yesterday we have announced it, sir.
Then it is all right, whether they are aware of it.
Yes, yes, sir.
And you tell them that on 19th we have a lecture on constitution.
Yeah.
And we will be sending them the video.
Yes.
Let them study and understand and then follow the lecture.
Sir,
19th we have
can you please give 2 minutes introduction about the person?
Yeah, Mr. Malyadri, a Supreme Court advocate from Delhi, he will be delivering 3 lectures on constitution. In public administration, you have so many questions. So he will be taking class for continuously 3 weeks, and he will be dealing with the constitution and its amendments and its provisions. We are sending you a video clipping in which he has already spoken in a seminar of international standard. You please study it and follow the lecture when he gives it on 19th at evening 5 o'clock. Mr. Malyadri from Supreme Court of Delhi.
They can go through the topic Constitution of India. So
yeah,
that
in
when
the
the
books
speaker
also.
is,
In the books also. 11th class, 12th class books, they can go.
Yeah, when the speaker speaks, it will become easy for them to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, dear students, your comments about today's interview with Mr. Karthik. I felt it was very much inspiring. Padma madam?
Actually, I was about to do it on my chat box. So actually, it was very inspiring.
Yeah.
And he shared many things.
Yeah.
One should follow who is very, who is starting his preparation for the civils.
Yes.
So he gave many suggestions. It was really helpful actually.
Yes, yes.
But particularly, you will be happy when he said there is no need for taking any leave.
Yes, sir. Actually, he talked about that thing. Once you have the spirit, then you can go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And 10 months of preparation would be sufficient. He also started in 2018. Yeah, this is the right time. Those who are appearing for 2021 prelims, I think so you people can really start it off and be our future. In future, we hope that we will be interviewing you people also. Yeah, that's our motto. It was more interesting that it was in his first attempt itself, he has got into the civil services. That itself was more inspiring, according to me. Kirtana, what do you have to say?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, it was very inspiring and informative. The way he answered the questions and the way he thinks, it's very nice.
Yes, yes, yes. So we had students from Visakhapatnam also in our session. So he was also from Visakhapatnam and from Timpani School. Yeah, Ashwini. Ashwini.
Yes, ma'am. It was very inspiration and motivated, ma'am.
Yeah. So you people have a lot of time. Yashwini, you are the youngest among all of them, right? So you have a lot of time for preparation. So be focused. Make sure that you're preparing, utilizing your time. Yesterday, as D.V. Rao sir told, see, everybody has 24 hours. How we manage the time makes the difference, right? Yeah. Manisha, what do you have to say?
Ma'am, I actually came to know about many things, but one thing which really inspired me is consistent hard work, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Hard work, there is no replacement for that, isn't it?
So at first I thought 2 years or 1 year might not be sufficient, but after listening to this, 10 months is really enough to get
Yes,
UPSC
yes,
rank.
yes. You're also quite young. You have time to do it. Yeah. So start it today itself, especially reading the Hindu newspaper reading. Yeah, the essays which we are giving. Yeah, that also should be taken up very, very seriously. Your writing skills to improve, is handwriting to improve. These two things also you people can concentrate, because once you clear prelims, you will not have much time for your preparation for mains. Yeah. Shanti Priya? Shanti Priya?
How to manage time.
Yeah.
And the way he answered is very nice, and
It looked as if we are
motivated a
talking
lot.
to a boy next door. Isn't it, like our neighbor?
Yes,
Yeah.